Hola clase, ahora vamos a hablar sobre el presente perfecto del subjuntivo, or the present perfect subjunctive. So before we review we learn the present perfect subjunctive, I'm going to talk about just the regular subjunctive that we learned in semester 1. Remember, for the subjunctive to happen, we have to express a wish, an emotion, and a personal remark, request, or doubt at the beginning of the sentence or before K. Remember weird? Remember, for the subjunctive to happen, you have to have a weird trigger and a change of subject. Then, ultimately, the subjunctive would happen in the second part of the sentence, or what comes after K. So remember how we form the subjunctive. The very first thing that we do is we put the verb in the yo form, present tense. So, for example, the verb hablar, we would say hablo. We take off the O, and then we add the opposite ending for present tense verbs. So remember, these are the endings for AR endings in the subjunctive. E for the yo form, ES for the to form, for the usted, ella form, E, nosotros, hemos, and ustedes, en, es, hemos, en. And for ER and IR endings in the subjunctive, they are a, as, amos, and an. What you're really doing is you're just switching the endings for the present tense verbs. So remember, there are 5 common irregulars in the subjunctive. Dar, de, des, de, demos, den. Estar, esté, estés, esté, estemos, estén. Ir, vaya, vayas, vaya, vayamos, vayan. Saber, to know a fact. Sepa, sepas, sepa, sepamos, sepan. And ser, sea, 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 seamos, sean. There are others, but these verbs are the most common that we're going to use in class. So, let's talk about some of the triggers that we can use for the present perfect subjunctive, and also just the present perfect. The present perfect subjunctive and just the subjunctive. Let's review some of those from semester 1. So, for the W, wishes, esperar, to hope for, desear, to desire, and ojalá que, to hope for, would represent the W in weird. Remember, these triggers are in the present tense and ultimately trigger the subjunctive in the second part of the sentence. So I could say something like, I hope you have a good day. Espero que tú tengas un buen día. Or, I hope that you understand the information. Espero que entiendas la información. We also can have the E emotions, estar feliz, to be happy. Estar triste, to be sad. Estar sorprendido or sorprendida, to be surprised. Estar alegre, to be happy. And estar enojado, to be angry. There are others, but those are the ones we're going to be using in class. For impersonal remarks, I haven't talked a lot about this, but we're going to be using them with the present perfect subjunctive. Es bueno que, it's good that. Es curioso que, I'm curious that. Es horrible que, it's horrible that. Es lógico que, it's logical that. Es normal que, it's normal that. And es natural que, it's natural that. So that also can trigger the subjunctive or the present perfect subjunctive in the second part of the sentence. And lastly, requests and doubt. So for the request, we could use verbs like sugerir, to suggest, querer, to want, and pensar, to think that. And for the D in weird, doubt, dudar. So here are just some examples of basic present subjunctive sentences. Espero que comas el bizcocho. I hope that you eat the chocolate cake. Or, dudo que conozcas tus abuelos bien. I doubt that you know your grandparents very well. So those are just the subjunctive. But now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the present perfect subjunctive. The present perfect subjunctive expresses an emotion, judgment, doubt, or hope about something that has happened. So we just learned the present perfect. We said things like, I have eaten the hamburguesa. Yo he comido la hamburguesa. Or, I have seen the light. Yo he visto la luz. We would use the present perfect subjunctive if there was a trigger at the beginning of the sentence. So I could say something like, it's important that you have done the homework. Or, I'm happy that I have seen you today. So that would be the present perfect subjunctive. The way that we form the present perfect subjunctive is we use the verb haber, and haber is irregular in the subjunctive, with the past participle adorido. So these are the subjunctive of haber. Haya,
in the yo form, hayas in the tú form, haya in the usted, el, ella form, hayamos in the nosotros form, and hayan. So I'm going to show you some examples of the present perfect subjunctive, and hopefully that will help you understand it in a better way. So here's one. I'm happy that you have met your stepsister. Estoy feliz que hayas conocido tu hermanastra. Here's the subjunctive trigger right here. Comes from the estar feliz. There's a change of subject. And here is the subjunctive of haber right here. And here is the past participle. So the past participle is used with the subjunctive verb, and it's after que. Remember, this verb is always in the present tense. It's important that you have not eaten the chocolate cake. Es importante que no hayas comido el bizcocho. Here also is the subjunctive trigger. And here is the present perfect subjunctive. Formed a lot like the present perfect. Just this verb is in the subjunctive. So what I want you to do right now is I would like you to write 2 sentences. I would like you to use 2 of the triggers that I just presented in the video and use the present perfect subjunctive with the vocabulary word. The vocabulary words are from chapter 4. You can either use 1 or 2. When you come to class, I will ask you for these sentences to make sure that you have watched the video. I hope this helped you understand the present perfect subjunctive. Adios.